Hi, this is Journey. Welcome to Gold Fever Radio.
Woo! Lot of living and loving, paying the bills, keeping things real, man, you know the deal. But when it's time for me to unwind, I gotta go someplace where the sun can shine, and there ain't no better place than out in the country. There's gold in them hills, and I'm gonna find it. It's a sight to see. You can't believe how the color of gold makes you lose control. Well, there's gold in them hills, and I've got the fever. And there ain't no other place that I'd rather be. Well, welcome to Gold Fever Radio. Once again, it is Wednesday, March the 13th. Can you believe it? March the 13th already. Wow. So let's see what's happening March 13th. You know, there's only 293 days left in this year. Man, this year is flying on by. What is today? Today is National Jewelry Day. So all those that like jewelry, it's National Jewelry Day. You should have jewelry. It's also National Canine Veterans Day. It's also National Coconut Tortilla something Day. I don't know what that is. It's National Good Samaritan Day. So I hope you guys have all been Good Samaritans today. And it's also National Open an Umbrella Indoors Day. Now, how stupid is that? Guess this is the only day out of the year you can open your umbrella indoors. Let's see, on this day in history in 1781, William Herschel discovers Uranus. Did you know that? 1781, William Herschel discovers Uranus. Let's see, 1942, the U.S. Army launches K-9 Corps. That's kind of funny, the K-9 Corps, and today is K-9 Veterans Day. See, what else happened? 1965, Eric Clapton leaves the Yardbirds. That's probably the smartest thing he ever did, too. It's nobody's birthday today, or at least of any famous people. If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you guys. But they show you national birthdays and all that, and all they show you a bunch of like TikTok stars and stuff like that. They're getting really crazy. So just a lot of crap going on. So nothing good. All right. So all you guys know, these last weeks I've been in Utah. I got back from Utah, and then I had to hurry and take off and go to Vegas. Vegas was uneventful, but it was still, planned and all of that, how that got planned out. That was planned last year with a friend that wanted to attend and get some old friends together. Then he went and passed away, and his son took his spot. So we went ahead and went on anyways. But anyway, so now I am back. Hopefully back in full swing. Things will be happening. I got to get out and do some dry washing. Maybe I should do that in these next days. Go out and start playing in the mountains again. Summer is upon us, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun this summer. The wheel has started, the prize wheel. So follow us on Facebook and all them other things. So that's all I got on that. I am trying to do something different here. I'm streaming live to Facebook along with YouTube also. So this is something new here. So we're trying that. Let's see who's in the chat room here. There's Paul. Hello, Paul. And Birdman. Deadeye Birdman. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, you guys carrying on. Janon. Hello. Richard Duke. Hello. Mark. Hello. Patty's Adventures. Hello. Stephen Peasley. Hello. Josh Cooper. Hello. Roland Saxton, prospecting and exploring Arizona. Hello. And Mountain Man Adventures. Hello. And OGREMG Toe. Hello. Did you find his beer yet? Yeah, I did. It's right here. English Prospector. Hello. Facebook user. See, that's what's going to happen in Facebook, is because in Facebook and stuff like that, they They don't show your names unless you got to go and special request all that. But Facebook user says, hello, Jack. So hello. Facebook user, hello from Canada. Hello. Uh, oops. What's that say? English prospector. I can't. I get rid of them comments there. Oops. English comment. English prospector. For some reason, YT didn't tell me you was live. Ha ha. I saw YouTube. Oh man, I sorry to hear that. Guy Carl made it. All right. Anyways, welcome guys. Welcome. We got to try to get back in the swing of all of this type of stuff, because it is the season to be prospecting, the season to be mining. Speaking of mining and prospecting, we have a guest in the house that is a prospector. Can you believe that? Yeah, we got a prospector. We're going to talk to a fellow prospector, and maybe we can learn some stuff, huh? Okay, let's bring him in right here. And right, there we go. Hello.
Hello, Jack. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Mark, what's happening, buddy?
Hey, we're here.
Oh, Art says Tread. I'm sorry. You are Tread.
I go by Tread. For everybody who wants to know, my name is Mark Treadway, but I've been called Tread for years.
Tread. So we will call him Tread. All right. Introduce yourself to everybody, those that don't know you.
Well, I don't know. I'm 60, almost 67. I'm getting up there now. And I started my mining back about 68. And I can tell you the story later if you want, but I was taught by one of the old timers, probably born before the turn of the century. And that's how I learned to pan, sluice, and dig. And it's just been a hobby ever since. And now I'm retired in life, so I get to do my thing full time now.
So that's how you got started from an old prospector. So what was it that made you say, woo, yeah, I want to do that?
Well, actually, it was my mother. Have to give her credit. We were in Alaska. My father's in the military, and my mother had heard about this old guy, and she says, I want to go. So she took us, and the guy introduced us to mining. He had a setup. He had what nowadays we call them zip lines. You go up on a hill, you dig, you put it in a bucket, hanging on the zip line, and let her go. And down below, he had sluices, and each zip line had a number. Every bucket had a number, and I don't remember what we paid to do it, but if you had bucket number 3, you hang it on line 3, and it had a false bottom in the bucket. So when it slid down the line and got over the sluice, it tripped the bottom and dumped all your dirt into the sluice. And then you walk down the hill and you open, these are old fashioned sluices, with wooden gates, and you just lift your gate and let the water run through the sluice. And then when you're done, you shut it off, put your pan below it, and, clean out the sluice into your pan, and then pan it out in the little retention pond he had there. And he showed us how to do it all, and then turned us loose on the hill. And, but that guy, he had to have been probably in his 80s in 68. So I can actually say that I learned how to do the trade from one of the original old timers. And so when you say, well, where'd you learn your panning? Well, I learned it from one of the old timers, the guys that was doing it right at the turn of the century. And it's just been a hobby ever since.
Let's see. What did I miss here? Somebody said, English prospector, he says, Tread, you have a YouTube channel?
I do, but I can't tell you what it is. Everybody keeps telling me I need to start doing YouTube. I post everything to my Facebook. You can look me up under my name, Mark Treadway. I've got a dog picture on there. And when send me a friend request and just tell me who you are. Say, hey, I'm interested in gold prospecting, and I'll add you. That's pretty much, I try to stay out of all the political stuff. I get in trouble when I say things, so I stay away from it, and try to keep it gold mining, family related. Once in a while, I'll put something else on there, but almost everything I put on Facebook is gold mining related.
Well, here you can do anything you want. Prickly prick prospecting. Wow, say that fast, really fast. Craig Carter, hello, welcome, and other Facebook users. I see fellow YouTubers, and I see fellow Facebook. Yeah. So yeah, quite interesting. So you're out mining right now, I take it, right?
Yes, sir. Had to get cleaned up to come in here and see you. Otherwise, you might have kicked me back out.
Nah,
I've been out for a little less than a week right now. I'll come out sometimes for 1-2 months at a time. Lately, I keep getting interruptions. I get a call from the wife, and hey, you need to come home for this or for that, and I have to run home. And I'm home for 3 or 4 days, and I come back out here. But I camp on my property and on my mining claim, and then I can get things done. If you try to go back into the house every day, you never get anything done. It seems like you have to actually camp out there where you can just camp. I mean, not camp, work, until after dark. I do a lot of night mining, and I have generator, lights, power equipment, and I night mine because it's cool and we can do it even in the summer. And then during the daytime, I mine. I'll go into I've got some drift mines, that I go into. So I'm underground, and it's a lot cooler in there, and I can do that during the daytime.
Cool. That's at your secret location. Somebody says, Richard Duke says, are you in Alaska still?
No, I am not. I'm in Arizona now.
He's in Arizona. He's at the secret location in Arizona. We can't tell you his secret location because.
And if you try to look my claim up, my name is not listed because I'm a former law enforcement officer and my name is protected. I didn't know that went over to the feds. I was protected in the state of Florida. But now, if you try to pull up my mining data, my claim data, there is no name there. So you can't see my name when you pull it up.
They did away with names to protect the guilty people. Woody Who Jack. Woody Facebook. So your secret location, that's your secret location. What is your method? So you're in Arizona, your secret location. So that means you're in the desert. What is your method of prospecting?
I use them all. My primary is drift mining. That's where you go in at the bedrock level and just start digging tunnels, and you basically follow the gold. And that's where the big gold is. There is surface gold, so when I get bored, I'll get out my detector and I will go after surface gold. But it's only small stuff on the surface, no big stuff. The big stuff is down below, and we found everything from micro little stuff all the way up to the former owner. He found a 22-gram nugget, so that's the biggest one that I know of that's been found on my claim. But several, 7.5 grammars, 14, stuff like that. So there is big gold on the old bedrock.
So where at in Arizona are you located?
It's outside of Quartzsite, Arizona.
Oh, okay. We're narrowing this down now.
I'll take you out there, Jack.
Okay.
I'll share my secret location with you.
All right, cool. Are we on the south side or the north side?
North side I-10.
The north side, that's where the gold is all at. It's on the north side.
It's on the south side too. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it is, but more people like to get up. So on the north side, are you east or west or middle camp?
I am east of middle camp.
Okay. Are you? Yes. We just keep narrowing this down. Okay.
Did you know that the middle camp claim is not the true middle camp? I got a hold of a early map of the region long before I-10 was there or anything. There was actually a camp south of my claim called Middle Camp. And I guess, I don't know what it was the middle of, probably between Quartzsite and what's the name of that little town over there by the river or something. But it must have been actually the middle of that route. And that no longer exists. It's not there. And now the Quartzsite, Metal Detector Club owns a claim that is called Middle Camp.
What is that Ehrenberg over there?
Ehrenberg, I can't remember. I've only been there a
Yeah,
couple of times.
by the river, by the border.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
border with communist. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that, am I?
Oh, you can say whatever you want here.
I try to stay out of the politics, but I also stay out of California. That gives you a hint of my politics.
Yes, especially if you're over there on that side of the world. So you said you drift mine. Okay, well, you just can't just get in there and start digging. You got to run the material somehow. What are you running it through?
We primarily use metal detectors. We use Mine Lab Gold Monsters. And I say we because I'm referring to my predecessor who still comes out and mines with me. And we use primarily the metal detector. So we dig, we metal detect, we dig, we metal detect. But then that bottom layer of dirt right against the bedrock, we will usually keep it and then run it through a dry washer. And we get gold out of it. I mean, stuff that is either too small to detect, or there a lot of times there's so many hot rocks in there, it just keeps that detector singing and you can't hear the little ones in there. And so that's why we take out that last layer and dry wash it. Then I'll take the dry wash tailings. Sometimes I will just pan it out, and other times I like this last time I used a little drop ripple sluice that I bought at the Quartzsite Gold Show last year, and it worked well. I mean, it caught all of the gold in the very top little drop ripple, and it worked well. And I liked it. I made a video of it, and I showed it, and I made the comment that I like it because I can sit in the shade and do it. You know, that was nice. But I also got a lot of equipment at home that, you know, I use different equipment. I have a Keen 151S dry washer, and I'm trying to remember the name of I got a big trommel at home. Same one you have, except the bigger one. What's that little red trommel you like?
Gold Fox.
Gold Fox, yeah. So I got the Gold Fox. I don't know what model. It's the big one, 6 inches. It's got a 14-inch wide sluice by about 5 feet long. And I like using that. But out here, you have to haul a lot of water to recirculate. And it's not usually feasible. So that's why I use my dry washer primarily out here.
We know that dry dirt sucks up the water pretty fast.
It does, and it evaporates real fast.
So I have a 6,000 I may have to bring out there then to play, you know.
You're welcome to come out there.
I'm going to have to one day. So someone says, do you ever use the Equinox 800?
I have not. I've talked to people that have. It does find gold. My opinion, I was talking to you about this earlier, but I started out metal detecting back east looking for coins. And so I know a lot about, you know, doing relics and coins and stuff like that. Since I came out here, I got the gold monster so that I can hunt for gold. The Equinox, my understanding is it's like the best of both worlds. I mean, they've combined it. So if you need one detector to do both, that's the one to go with. I don't think finding gold is as good as the gold monster. I've never seen anything that can find the little stuff that the gold monster finds. We're talking almost microscopic. Granted, you almost have to be touching it, but I've had several guys take other detectors and put it over samples that I have of things that I've actually found, and their detectors will not pick up those little ones. They have to be bigger. They have to be, you know, down in that, it's a subgram area, you know, 0.02 or something like that before they can pick it up. But mine will get it down. It'll pick ones up that they won't even break the scale and make it weigh. I mean, it'll still say 0 on the scale. That's how small they are. And so the Mine Lab, they've got good products, but I think the Gold Monster is a good all-around VLF machine. Of course, if you go pulse induction, you know, you go to the bigger, more expensive machines, and they will go deeper. And my understanding is the 6,000 can pick up almost as small as stuff as the Gold Monster. And I haven't seen it in action. That's just what I'm understanding.
Yeah, it won't pick up stuff like the Gold Monster will, because it will pick up that minute stuff. And like I say, the 800 is kind of an all-around machine that it does work pretty well if you use the smaller coil on the Equinox for gold, the 6-inch or 5-inch coil, whatever's on there. It's not quite as sensitive for gold as the Gold Monster, but you can eliminate some of the hot rocks out by, the Gold Monster pretty well turn on and go, where the Equinox got some play in it, some stuff to screw around with. So Richard Duke says, do you prefer dry washing or wet sluice?
Well, I think wet sluices, as long as you set them up right, are better. They'll catch more gold and possibly process more dirt. I've got a big one, like I said, it's a trommel, 14-inch wide by 5 feet long. So it's a bigger one, and it'll take dirt as fast as I can shovel it into it and catch it. I mean, it catches little stuff. Everybody says that dry washers lose a certain amount of gold. I believe that's true, but I think it depends on how good you are with your dry washer. I don't lose much. I mean, I get my dry washer running, and I mean, it catches little stuff. I've done my tailings. I worked a year ago over in the Stanton area on a friend's claim over there. And I had a guy that came by there, and he'd take my tailings and my partner's tailings, and he'd take them home and test them, and then he'd report back to us. And he tested my dry wash tailings, didn't find much at all, and I mean, it wasn't even worth speaking of. And same way when I did it. Now they tell you, obviously, in a dry washer, don't run wet dirt. And I used to ask, I said, but what percentage are you losing with wet dirt? I mean, it depends on how much I'm willing to lose. How much does it lose? And nobody could answer that question. So one day after it had rained, the dirt was damp. I actually ran a load through the dry washer. And then I, of course, panned it out, and I measured what I got. And then I took all of those tailings and took them home and ran them through my wet wash and measured it. And I found out that running moist material through the dry washer, I lost 65%. That's not acceptable. So yes, the dirt has to be bone dry. But in my opinion, if you set that dry washer up properly and you know how to run it, you don't lose hardly anything. But most people don't know how to set it up correctly. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I know people like to, there's different, people have different comments on how to set up a dry washer just because it depends on your area that you're in. But, gold does separate better in water than it does in air or with air. But on a dry washer, what you're going to lose, if you run it wet will wash those rocks and those little pieces of gold attached to the rocks. A dry washer is not going to wash off. It's just going to go over the top of there. And any dirt clogs and stuff like that, the water would break up. A dry washer can't break that up. And so, that's the percentage that you lose. So you might lose, if you're running it properly with the right amount of air and the right pitch and all the, you might lose 5%, maybe something like that. And I've had people that say, well, I'll just run it twice. And I say, well, then run it twice. If you're going to lose 5% and then run it again to get 90% of the 5% you lost, you might as well just run new material. Don't look back, just keep going,
Right.
And but yeah, in the desert, dry washers have been around for, since the old timers, because there's really no water, and dry washers is the main thing. And there's been a lot of gold found with dry washers. I mean, it's, I don't know if any machine is 100%, so probably lose gold with everything. Let's see. So, Peace Dove, hello, welcome. Working on a design portable mini dredge for you guys. Okay, bring it on out. The Minelab Manticore is almost as good as the Gold Monster. Okay, I'm not touching that one. See, during the rainy season, I metal detect coins, but the summer you will find me on a river. Okay, so Craig says the claim directly east of Tread's claim was forfeit this year, Jack. Would be a good place to swing the 6,000. Oh, does he know where you're at?
I don't know. Who is that?
Craig Carter.
I forgive me if I know you, Craig, but I don't remember the name.
English prospector. See, I've seen the monster pick up 0 point flakes. Oh, I know the gold monster will pick up minute stuff. It's they've seemed to. That's one thing about the Mind Lab. It runs at 45 kilohertz, megahertz, whatever it is, and that 45 number is about that number, that perfect number to for finding gold, and they've got that one. Although some people say that the gold bug 2, because it can because you can fine tune and back off and stuff like that. It's a pretty good machine too. But for just to turn on a gold machine, yeah, the gold monster is there. What matting do you use? Moss, Dream Mat, or Talon, etc.?
I've never used a Dream Mat. My Gold Fox has got the who makes that matting, that black matting? I forget.
Gold Hog.
Gold Hog matting, right? The matting that I like the best, and you can't find it in bigger sizes, but it's a green mat made in China, and you can find it at all the gold shows. A little, like a 3-foot piece by, I don't know if it's 9 or 10 inches wide, and you just cut it to fit your little sluice. And I love that stuff, but you can't get it in any bigger sizes.
Green stuff.
Yeah, it's just a made in China.
Is it rubber?
Green, yeah, rubber with riffles, but boy, I tell you what, it catches the gold. I really, really like it. And it's cheap. It's like $35 for that little piece. That's like I said, about 3 feet long, I think, and maybe 9 inches wide. And you can find them at all the gold shows, and you can find them in a lot of the gold mining stores. But yeah, it just says made in China. There's no name to it or anything. And
Roland says he's got a Keen 190. It doesn't lose much if any. I ran 190, then ran it, and found one speck of gold. Yeah, I had a friend that had a 190 once, and he wanted to sell it to me. And so I said, okay, I'll buy it. So we went up to the claim, and he was running it. And I said, dude, you're running it wrong. So we got it to run, and then he ran it and found gold, and then he said it wasn't for sale anymore. And I knew another guy out here running the 190, and just out of whatever, I did a little video about the dry washers lose gold, and I went up there and ran these tailings, and oh my God, I got so much gold. I bet you I got 2 grams or more gold easily out of his tailings. And I thought, dude, if this is what you're missing, God, you're finding so much gold. And he saw that and he says, oh my God, I'm not getting that type of stuff. He was running his wrong. The 190, the 160, those because it's got such a steep sluice in there, that front end's got to be lifted up on those to capture any gold. I knew somebody else running the little one too, and he was losing gold. Same thing. Those, you got to lift that front end up. Let's see what else is going on here. Love my gold monster. Found gold in Maine. Facebook user. Trey Madon, and you have been selected among my shortlisted winners for my next. Okay. Let's see. And you. Okay. Well, I think maybe we're getting some spammers in here. Rustic Topples, and you have been selected. Come on. I think we're getting spammers in here. It's funny, Facebook, there's so, they will, put you in jail, or they will, suspend you for the day or 6 days or whatever for posting stuff, but they'll allow all these phony ass people on there, these girls sending you requests, because that's numbers. So when they say, oh, we've got 20 million people, they want everybody just come on. They don't care if they're phony accounts or not. And then you get all these spam and all these stuff, and Facebook could care less about. Look at all these here. These are all phony things. I need to go in and start blocking some of these people out of here. Uh, put them in jail. Let's see. How can I put people in jail on this thing? I don't know how I can do it. I thought there was a way I could do that.
I'll tell you a
Uh,
funny story. So Facebook, hey, they've closed several accounts on me, and that's why I try to stay away from the politics now. But they closed one because I used the name Tread, and they said that's not your name. And I looked up their rules, and nicknames are allowed. And I said, it's my nickname, and it is my nickname. And they're like, well, you have to verify it. You have to send us,
yeah.
I think it was 3 forms of identification. So I sent them a picture of my NRA card and something else. Boy, they closed that account real fast.
So Craig says he has the 2 claims north of you, above Don's.
Oh, above Don's. Oh, okay. I have met him. Okay. Okay, I hiked across that. Tell him just a couple of days ago. There's a hard rock mine up above him. Maybe it's on his claim. I don't know. I wanted to go up and look at it. I've never been up there, so I hiked up there and hiked back down again just a couple of days ago.
So Craig, so you got some claims over there, huh? You keeping that a secret, buddy? How come we're not over there playing around? Man, I gotta spend some time in Quartzsite doing some mining. It looks like.
You got to work for it over there for the good stuff, anyway.
Yeah, that's
a lot of hard work.
I do have a couple claims over there.
Yeah, they're right below mine.
Oh, are they below yours?
They don't touch mine. There might be a couple of claims in between us, but yeah, it's right directly toward the highway.
Okay, yeah. The problem with that is, I think it's anything you find, you got to go down like 26 feet to find. There's a lot of overburden there.
There's 15 feet of overburden on my place. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's the thing. I ran into these 2 guys probably 10, 15 years ago out there digging. They used to come out to the Quartzsite Club and all these, and they had this ladder one time going down in this hole. And what are you guys doing down there? We're finding gold. They know, yeah, you got to go down about 20 feet to get it. You guys are insane.
I've got the same thing on my claim, but I found a report back in 1920 or so. Somebody commissioned 173 of those holes to be dug, and I got several of them on my claim. So I use them. I got a ladder going down one of them right now. I go down and I clean it out down to the bedrock, and then I go from where they left off. But why not? They dug the hard hole. All I got to do is continue what they were doing.
Yeah. Let's see. So Roland said, did he have the 1st generation or 2nd generation with bump stop? You're right, Jack. Lift to the front. Yeah, they have. All of them. I think have them things on them. I don't like those things, those bumpers. The 150 you mentioned, the S. I like my old style one. I don't like all that extra carpet in there and those bumpers, and I want that box. I like it to shake, move.
Mm-hmm.
Them bumpers hold it in place and kind of just create a little vibration thing. But I like that sucker just to vibrate and shake. So I don't care for the S's on those suckers. But yeah, so that I'm not sure about. Whatever. Let's see. Janon Meta K Facebook is such a joke. Yeah. Trippin' Tommy, hello. Yeah, I can't figure out how I can delete these guys that are spamming in here. They're saying, you're a winner. Private message me. That's just all crap, man. Don't fall for all that stuff. I don't know how they get in here to allow here, but yeah, it won't let me block them out. Sometimes we'll be in here, and then all of a sudden you'll see some chick come in there and say, hoo-hoo, and then she'll give their email address or something for everybody to go check out. Don's claims are for sale, Jack. Oh, I don't buy mining claims. No, I don't want to buy no mining claims. But hey, thank you. Don has a claim both above and below me. Well, Craig, you just keep on working them. I'll come out and see you. Let's see. My grandson is a firefighter, EMT there in Quartzsite. Patty says. Let's see. Take it, Olivito. I don't know what that. Take it. Oh, take it or leave it. Oh, okay. Duh. What state are you guys mining in? We're in Mississippi. Arizona. I think. Are we in Arizona?
Something like that. It sure is sunny and a lot of cactuses out there.
You're close to the California border.
Oh, don't remind me.
You're probably only, what, about 5 or 10 miles, not even that, from the California border,
Yeah, probably 10, maybe.
Yeah. Because I'm 42 miles from here to the California border. So, yeah. Yes. Okay, so what kind of gold are you getting out there? I mean, as far as is it really chunky stuff? Is it flat where it's been traveled, or like if it's, how did that gold get placed in there that you're finding?
The stuff that's down on the bedrock, the good stuff, it's river run. I'll give you a little history that I get from the geologist and also from a book that I read on this old riverbed. The riverbed, according to the geologist, is 1.5 to 1.6 million years old. It was running from just north of Yuma all the way up into the Great Basin. So it went diagonally across Arizona, um, up to the Four Corners area and into the Great Basin. It was loaded with gold, and any place nowadays that anybody can get onto that old riverbed, they find a lot of gold. And that's what we're on, is that riverbed. If you know the story of Rich Hill and all the gold they were finding on top of the hill, that, it turns out, is a piece of that old riverbed. When those mountains lifted up, they lifted up a whole piece of the riverbed on top of the mountain. And that's why they were finding potato-sized nuggets up there. It was a piece of this same riverbed. There's some place up around Monument Valley area or something that somebody got onto it. They found good gold. And anyway, it stopped running about the same time the Great Basin broke its banks, and then this river stopped running. So that 15 feet of overburden we have on it now, that's what accumulated over 1.5 million years. So after that, you had a lot of mountains raising up, a lot of volcanoes in this area. And the surface of this whole area to the west of Quartzsite is got all kind of what now is small gold. I guess there used to be bigger stuff, but the detectorists pretty much have cleaned the area pretty good. And all you find is little stuff now, but that stuff is rough. And I personally think it got blown out of a volcano and just salt and peppered the whole area out there, something like a Mount St. Helens explosion or something, and just littered that place with all this little gold. And that's what's on the surface. But if you go down to that old riverbed, that's all river run, smooth. And I mean, some of it's big and round, but it's not sharp edged or anything. It's smooth edged. But that stuff on the surface, it's sharp edged.
So, Craig, I try to go on there, like if you're from YouTube and you click over the thing, there's the 3 dots. And if you click on the 3 dots, it gives you the choice to delete, put user in timeout, or ban user. But from the Facebook, when I go over it, it doesn't give me those 3 dots. So it doesn't let me do that. Patty says, we have a campground on the lower Colorado River. Lots of rock hounding there. I believe that's known as Walter's Camp, south of Quartzsite. I mean, south of
Ehrenberg.
No, south of Blythe. They're on the California side.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Where did I miss that? Let's see. Yeah, if you can block them, Guy, go ahead and block them, because I'm not being able to see that. I don't see them in here right now, so maybe they just came on and leave. Like I say, I was just trying something to bring in the Facebook things, but there are so many phony people on Facebook that's just unreal, because you don't even see who they are. They just hide in the shadows there. But I get all those requests, they say, hi, I love your profile. You're a really nice person, but I can't friend you. Can you send me a friend request? Yeah, I'll jump right on it, man. Yeah, I think everybody gets them, don't they?
I see them a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. You just got to ignore them. But yeah, yeah. Oh well, that's the world we live in right now. Tick tock. So, oh, let's see. True Modern. It's no scam, bro. Okay, thank you, man. Let's see. What I need to do now before I forget, let me play my commercial. Hold with us there, and we'll be right back. All right, tread.
All right.
We'll be right back, folks.
ICMJ, the International California Mining Journal, was first published in 1931, 93 years old this year. Since our first issue, our goal has remained the same, and that is to provide miners with a voice, a marketplace for their goods and services, and to offer expert advice and tips from our knowledgeable writers, miners, geologists, all in the field. We still offer our 12 and 24-month print subscriptions, but keeping up with the times and with our reader requests, the digital online subscription option allows for a simple and gorgeous reading experience using your preferred technology, your phone, your tablet, or computer. Sign up for our print, online, or both print and online at www.icmj.com or call us at 831-479-1500. For our advertising services, both display advertising and classifieds, select the Miners Market section or call us. Happy prospecting.
Yeehaw! Here we are back again. Whew, yeah, baby. All right. Okay, I got to play that. The Mining Journal. That is such an awesome magazine. Probably one of the best magazines out there for prospecting because they tell you all about prospecting, how to find gold, where to find gold, what to do with it. And anyway, so that's pretty cool magazine. Okay, so we are talking to Tread about prospecting, about gold. All right, so what you're saying basically is you dig a hole into the mountain, you pull out all that dirt, and then you run your metal detector over it.
We actually do it inside the hole.
Oh, you're crawling in the hole.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Some of them are pretty long.
How wide?
Wide enough to turn around, and my minimum height is big enough to set up in. But you have to kind of crawl into a lot of them. But you get in there and you listen with the metal detector. You just run it right along the base of the bedrock, right at the bottom of the dirt, and you're listening for signals. And if you hear a signal, you go after it and you dig it out. You can tell when you pop it out, and then you find it and recover it. But that dirt right along the bottom is what we keep and dry wash, and get all the little stuff that we missed with the detectors. But no, we take the detectors in with us. We take a gold monster, what they're designed like. The rod has 3 sections. So we take off that back section with the armrest, and we move the little computer control thing, the handle forward on it. So it makes it a little short metal detector, and it'll go in those holes with us, and we can swing it around in there, and look for the gold. But yeah, we found a lot. There's a lot of old timers drift mining holes, and they do the same thing. They go right down on the bedrock, and they clean that bedrock with wire brushes. We know that because we found, bits and pieces, those little wire brushes. And they did a good job. I mean, they cleaned off that bedrock. Now, I don't know how they processed it. I don't know if they ran that through a dry washer or just panned it out. I don't know what they did, but I do know they cleaned them tunnels out. But we'll go into an old tunnel and, work those sidewalls, and because we can hear what's in there, and we can find stuff that the old timers, it's just barely out of sight. They didn't know it was there. They just dug a straight tunnel and they cleaned up the floor, but they didn't go to the sides. So that's what we do. We'll go in an old one and detect the sides until we get a signal. And as you're cleaning it out, and getting your gold out of there, a lot of times you'll come up with another signal. So then you chase that, and then you get another signal. So you chase that. But then there's times when we'll go 5 or 6 feet and not get a thing. It comes in little pockets. But I knew one guy, he dropped down onto that old bedrock and right onto a pocket of about 30 little nuggets. And he went a little farther, maybe 10 feet, and he ran into a pocket of 50 nuggets, and so that's it's there, and it's good gold down there. I mean, they can be the big ones, and yeah, when you get a 7.5 grammer or something, I mean, you're like, oh yeah, payday. Not that it's really payday for me. This is a hobby for me. I don't live off my gold. And I've only sold gold one time, and that was just because I had a friend that did pay dirt bags, and he was out of gold, and he had some pay dirt bags he needed to fill. So I sold him some gold to fill his pay dirt bags. But other than that, I've still got all the gold I've ever found. I don't sell it. I just look at it. I don't live off of that.
Yeah, no, I wish I say that. I don't have any. I don't keep gold. So I've known people that's gone back in these drift mines and well, you know what happens to people that get in there and they collapse on them, So if you're getting that type of gold, maybe I should just tie a string to you, so when you get in there and when the mine collapse, I'll know where you're at.
That stuff down there is like cement, and the last 10 inches literally is like cement. There was, I guess, when the river stopped running, it had about maybe 10, 12 inches of dirt on it. And I don't know what kind of event happened, but it dropped a whole lot of calcite, and that calcite filtered down through that last 10 inches. And then over the last 1.5 million years, between the pressure of the weight and just time and maybe a little water getting on it, that stuff turned into cement. And so you have to go at it with a jackhammer. I mean, you can do it with a pick, but it takes forever, and you wear picks out real quick. And so we do it with a what they call a demo hammer. That's what we use in there. And that's the only way you can break that stuff apart. But the sealing is not much different. I mean, all you got to do is go into one of the old drift mines that were cut, around the turn of the century, and you look at them, and they're just as solid today as they were when they were cut 100 to 120 years ago. And that gives you a lot of faith in that stuff. It's not hard rock, but boy, it's awful close to it.
Huh, that's interesting. I'm going to have to come out and check it out then, come out there.
Anytime, Jack, anytime.
What the hell you doing out there, man? I mean, we've been places, like up in Oregon, the LDMA has that claim up there, and people tunnel in. Down over there in Duesenberg on, California, they tunnel into places like that. A lot of that's that soft, kind of material, and you tunnel in there, and then the weight just comes down on you, collapses on you. And so the coyote holes, they don't allow that type of stuff like that. But
right. But this stuff is hard. So you go inside one of those, and you take a pick or you take a sledgehammer, and you start beating the side walls or the ceiling to see what comes down. You'll get a little bit to come down, but it's not the whole ceiling. I mean, you might knock a rock loose or something, but it's hard. But like I said, you go into the ones that are 120 years old, they're just as good today as the day they cut them, just as solid.
So is that like a conglomerate rock is what it is? It's got a bunch of rock and everything like your cement, but it's a conglomerate?
It's not a conglomerate. Conglomerate is when you take that gravel and dirt, and over time, pressure and probably heat, it actually turns the whole thing into a rock. It's a whole bunch of rocks within a rock. This is not, I mean, it's been subject to pressure and time, but I don't think it was subject to heat. And it's not a rock. It's more like, have you ever torn apart cement with gravel in it? I mean, the cement and gravel are two separate things, and you have to jackhammer, and that's how this is. It's hard, but it's not rock. When you jackhammer, it turns back into dirt and rocks.
But it's not a caliche, though.
No, you're down below all that.
Okay.
There is caliche out on my claim, but it's up closer to the surface.
That's where I want to be, right there
On the surface, huh?
on the surface near the caliche layer. I like caliche.
Yeah, well, that caliche, the gold likes to go down and set on top of it, So you
Yeah,
find the
that's why I
caliche,
like it.
you
Yeah,
can get it.
that's like up in Meadview. All that gold, sits on that caliche layer, and sometimes you got to chisel out those little pieces in that caliche layer.
And I've found several pieces on your claims up there at Meadview.
Oh, you went up there, did you?
Oh, I've been
Yeah.
up there 2 or 3 times. You betcha.
I love it up there. That's one of my happy spots is up there in that
Uh-huh.
place. I can't wait to get back there again. Summer's coming. We're going to be playing in the summertime.
There you
I like
go.
heat. I like this hot, burning heat. I love it.
I'm the opposite. When it gets hot, I'm gonna go in my tunnel where it's cool.
Well, so how far back is that tunnel going?
Well, we've got several different ones, and a lot of them have been filled in over time. The river, because they cut them in down at the river. They're dry washes, but the dry washes run, every now and then, and when it does, it fills them in with dirt, and then you have to dig it back out, and that's a lot of what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm cleaning out old tunnels. I've cut some of my own. And I've cut some there where I haven't done any good. When that one guy I told you found 30 and then found 50. Same time he was doing that, I was cutting my own hole. And I think I found 4 miniature ones the whole time I was cutting the hole. So some of the holes I call that the dry hole, But there's other ones. In my predecessor, he had a hole going, and he knew I wasn't doing good. And he says, "Go in my hole tonight." So I went in his hole and I pulled out 12 nuggets out of it.
Wow.
So it's spotty, but that whole claim of mine, I figure there's thousands of dollars worth of gold there. But getting to it, oh my lord, it's if you had to have equipment, maybe it'd be different. But I don't know what the overhead for that would be. It might be, not cost prohibitive, I guess you'd say. I don't know, but I just do it by hand. I'm just an old guy. I bought the claim and I said, this will do me for the rest of my life. I got enough digging out here that'll keep me busy for the rest of my life. And that's what I do. I tell everybody's like, why you like doing it? And I says, it brings out the kid in me. I get to sit on my butt and play in the dirt. And that's what I do.
So from the surface, how far down is it that you're actually underground? I mean, say, not an overburden, but you're coyote holing in. But so how far down are you?
Usually 13 to 15 feet. I think there's areas that might go a little deeper. I mean, the bedrock, it's been uplifted and twisted and turned. And so the bedrock itself, it's not a flat surface down there. It's smooth because it had a river running over it, So you've seen rivers before where they run over bedrock, and that's bedrock. It's like baby butt smooth, but it's twisted and turned and cracked. And there's some other bedrock that now overlays some of it. And it's a lot of different stuff down there. But most of it, I think, is 13 to 15 feet deep.
Well,
that's what I've actually measured.
Okay. Let's see. Mike Bush. Hello. Okay. So I'm trying to picture this here. So you got a flat ground, and then what is it, like a slope that comes down and you're going into the slope, into the thing?
Yeah, that slope that comes down. No, that's correct, because I have a couple of dry washes that run through there, and they have already cut down to within about 5 feet of that bedrock. So they've cut off a good 10 feet of the overburden. And then you go into the riverbed and drop down that extra 5 feet till you hit bedrock. And then you go into, the overburden. So you don't have to go down as far. If you started at the surface, you would literally dig down, 15 or so feet before you'd hit bedrock.
Okay.
And so it's a lot easier just to go into the riverbed. But the problem is when it rains, it fills your hole back up. And then you have to dig it back out, re-excavate it, and so that's a problem.
You can't put a big rock in front of your hole?
I've got in front of one of them, it's an old timer's hole, and I've got a vertical hole up top, and I think the two connect, but we've never dug both of them until they connected. So I want to find out. Anyway, there was an old hood, an automobile hood out there. So I took that hood and stood in front of the hole, and put some boulders in front of it to hold it in place. And boy, it's working. You can look down behind it, and since the river has run 2 or 3 times since I put it there, and there's at least 2 feet, maybe 3 feet of gravel outside of that that vertical drift mine, or not vertical, horizontal drift mine, but not inside. So obviously water goes in when the river runs, but the dirt doesn't go in. So I used a hood of a vehicle to do what you suggested.
So it's not like a dirt that you're, like where it's gravel's thin. It's more of that powdery, overburdened stuff. Is that what your overburden's on top of your bedrock?
No, it's I don't know. It looks like the depths of hell. It looks like it looks like it's all been burned by a volcano or something. Brown, dark rocks and a mixture, and then we have a lot of green rock too. I don't know what that green rock's made out of. I have noticed there's a layer of it, 5 to 6 feet thick, and the old timers, they seem to always go into that green rock. That's where they went in and did their drift mines. I don't know what it is about the green rock that excited them and made them go in at the green rock, but they always did. And you come out there, I can show all this to you, and then you'll have a better understanding.
Well, generally green, I mean, depends on what kind of, but a lot of times when you find your green rocks out around, in the desert, that's epidote. And that's why they liked green, your green rocks, is because that's a sign for gold. But it's also like, you hear the old timers went after the blue clay and stuff like that, because that was, kind of that deteriorated bedrock. And so depending on what type of green that is. But you mentioned you thought maybe the tunnels might connect or something like that. There's a secret thing you can do that you throw in the tunnel, and it's called smoke balls. They're colored balls, and it'll come out the other side if it's.
I used to use those to get squirrels out of trees. They work good, boy. Those squirrels come popping out.
Yeah, we have to use them once in a while. Josh says serpentine. Mike says,
I don't think it's serpentine. I know what serpentine is. When I went to college, I never became a geologist, but I studied a lot of geology, and I do know what serpentine is. These are not serpentine. It's just a greenish colored rock that I'm not familiar with, but there's a lot of it out there. There's a whole layer of it. Like I said, it's 5 or 6 feet thick. And I've found a place that I want to go into where I think I'm on top of that green rock layer. So bedrock should be 5, 6, maybe 7 feet down, which is really not that far, although it's hard. I mean, I told you about the hard stuff. This is the hard stuff, and I have a big jackhammer, and I can tear it apart and, bucket it out and keep going down till I hit bedrock. But when you run into that, nobody has ever been there before. And that's probably a good place for me to go into. I've got 2 or 3 projects going, and like I said, I work outside when it's cool enough. And then when it gets too hot, I go inside a drift mine and work in there. So I kind of bounce back in 2, depending on the temperatures and the light and all that.
Yeah. That green rock might be, Stanton up in that area has some of it too. If it's what I'm thinking about, they call that Yavapai schist.
It may be a schist. Of course, it's not solid rock like a bedrock. These are chunky green rocks that came down off the mountains, on erosion and rolled down, however it got down there, when I took that hike the other day, I actually ran into an outcrop of that green rock up that I climbed a ridge of the mountain toward the top, and I found an outcrop of that green rock, and maybe that's where it was coming from, or maybe there's more of those outcrops around that are buried now that you can't see, but I did find an outcrop of that rock. So it came down, but it must have been a lot that came down to leave a layer 5 or 6 feet thick. That's a thick layer.
That's the only thing interesting. So you can drive right to your claim then, I guess, huh? In your truck.
Yes, you can. Two-wheel drive will make it within sight of my claim corner, but then you have to kind of drop down off the hill, and it goes to four-wheel drive after that. And clearance is a big thing. I wouldn't recommend a car. I have had one friend, he brought his car out there, but I wouldn't recommend it for a car.
Oh, so your best way to come out there on the side by or something, huh?
Oh, well, you can get around. You can go past my claim. The road goes on over to Middle Camp. I've had several people. They look at my truck and they're like, "Don't try to take your truck through there, though." I never have, but it's just too long of wheelbase. There's too many dips that are too narrow to get a big truck in and back out again. But to my claim, yeah, you can make it all the way to my claim in two-wheel drive. But you want the clearance, a pickup truck, type clearance. It would be much better.
Yeah. No, I'd come out in my side by. So where are you in conjunction with the Roadrunner?
Oh, you pass a Roadrunner claim going to mine. I don't know where all their claims are. I'm sure they have multiple claims. I think they have one near your claims.
Well, the ones that are up there, up on top, that are kind of harder to get to.
Not sure about that. I don't know of any Roadrunner claims up top. I know that the Craig, I guess it is now, I knew he bought one above Don's. I didn't know he bought two up there. But anyway, you can't even get a side-by-side back in there or a four-wheeler. They did put a trail in for a four-wheeler to his claims, but that's as far as you go. The rest of it's hiking, and it's even rough hiking. And
yeah, no, the quartzsite one, the Roadrunner's quartzsite is you got to have a side by to get up in there.
Yeah. But that trail that goes through my property, it crosses a saddle there and then goes on over to Middle Camp.
Well, I was just wondering because I know I've been up there. Yeah, that's the desert area quartzsite. It's Middle Camp Mountain. East Side Placer, 1-3 Placer, Diablo Placers, and Yellow Dog.
And there's still gold over there too. My friend is finding it all the time. And a lot of people tell you it's worked out. It's not worked out. They're getting some good gold over there. But you got to work for it. You got to dig for it.
That's about what it is on everything, huh? You got to work for it.
Yeah, you do. A lot of people ask me about my claim, when I'm gone. They're like, "Are you scared somebody's going to claim jump you and steal your gold?" And I'm like, there ain't nobody willing to work that hard for it. It's not like it's laying around on the surface.
Okay, so they're east of Marquette Pass, Roadrunners.
East of Marquette?
Yeah.
Oh,
Diablo
yeah.
Pass, yeah.
That's the one I passed, I think, is the one that's east of it. Yeah, I can barely see that.
Okay.
But yeah, I passed a Roadrunner claim going in just before I turn up towards Marquita.
Okay.
But I go past Marquita.
You're up Marquita Mine. You go up past Marquita Mine then?
No, I turn up their road and then I double back again and go on farther to the west.
Oh, okay. You're over in that area then. Okay. I was just trying to piece out to get kind of where you were at in that thing there.
I can probably show it to you on your map. Well, I got a map too. I can show it to you when we're done here.
No, I was just kind of wondering for when I come over there where what I have to expect.
Bring water. There's no artesian wells on my property.
I only come over just for a little bit. Our claims are west of Marquis Pass, Jack. Okay. And there's gold up in there then, and it's some rough country up in there too. So.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, Dallas Ride. Hey Jack and all, what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about gold. We're talking about how hard it is to get the gold. Yeah. Anyways, we're just BSing. Killing time. That's what we're doing. We used to go here in Arizona we don't change the time, but it's always always there 5 o'clock Pacific time, whatever time that is. So sometimes 5 o'clock Pacific time is 6 o'clock here, and sometimes 5 o'clock Pacific time is 5 o'clock Pacific time. So we just changed our clock. So now instead of airing at 6 o'clock in Arizona, we now air at 5 o'clock in Arizona. That's kind of confusing, huh?
No,
So,
we stayed the same. They changed.
they do, but Pacific time is always Pacific time. And so we go by Pacific time. That's why we always air at 5
Right.
o'clock Pacific time. So although Pacific time, sometimes we go with California, sometimes we go with the other part of the thing. But anyway, so it's nicer now that it's still light when we air. And by the time we off air, it's still light. It's not dark like it was last week's. Let's see. Richard Duke says, sound like all that area is all claimed up. Pretty much of that all is. It's a pretty popular area out in there. You might find little pieces here or there, but pretty much years ago when BLM used to allow you to have, you could have up to 160 acres with 8 locators on it. And people used to do that because it was so much cheaper to have one claim, 160 acres. Then they changed it to every 20 acres. You could still have 160 acres, but you had to have a locator for every 20 acres. So a lot of people then, and that was over $1,300 to renew that claim then. So then everybody kind of killed and just took the gravy parts and just the washes and kind of revamped. So there is probably open ground, but it's going to be high on a mountaintop or hard places to get to, stuff like that.
Yeah, you get open ground when people fail to pay their fees too, but it's real chancy. You can look it up. Nothing is up to date. You look it up and it says open, so you go claim it and you pay your filing fees, and then they'll come along and say, oh, it's no good. The guy just paid late and we hadn't filed it yet. And you can't trust all that stuff. That's our government at work.
Well, BLM is only money takers, is all they are. They don't police the thing, and they are quite a few months behind, and that's why whenever you do claim things, you really have to do a lot of your due diligence on claims. But if you only got one claim, you can get by as a small miner, and you don't have to pay all those fees. And I always like it when.
I went into the Phoenix office when I actually bought this claim, and I talked to them about that. I actually picked up the paperwork to do it, and they told me, they said, in our opinion, it's really not worth it. They said, by the time you do all the paperwork, and you still have to take it to the county and file it, and then you have to bring it up to Phoenix and file it, and your time and all that, they said, it's really, you've put almost that much money into your fuel and your other cost. And they said it comes out a little bit cheaper, but they said it's just really not worth it. So that was what I was told at BLM.
Well, BLM, of course, they're telling you that. When you do a small miner's waiver, if you own 10 or less claims, you can do a small miner's waiver. Instead of paying $165 every year to keep your claim, you only pay $10 every year to keep your claim. And all you're doing is doing $165 worth of work. So like I say, I may put down, you improved roads, you trimmed bushes, you picked up trash, basically that there. And you're going to file on the other way. You file one form. This one, you file one additional form, and that's just your waiver form. And that's all you do. I don't drive them down to the county. You send them in by mail.
Well, you can send them in by mail. Yeah. County costs what, $30-something to file with them, I think, or to get it recorded.
That's on the record of the claim. I think the other was 15 on just your affidavit, because you have to do the affidavit.
Oh, okay. I thought that was going to be 32. I thought it was a flat fee.
Maybe it's 30. I know on the mining claim they charge 30 to file the mining claim. Right. And then I just found, because I picked up some more ground up there in Gold Basin. And what I did is I took it. So instead of filing 3 claims, I filed it as one claim with 3 locators, but I did it where it's 660 feet across and 3,600 something feet down. So
Right.
basically, 1320, 1320, 1320. And that gives you your 320-acre claims. But BLM said they changed the rules and you can't have it that long anymore. So now I've got to reclaim it back to only 2640. They're saying all you're allowed. They keep changing those type of stupid rules, that you
Yeah.
can't keep up with. So
It's hard to keep up with. Now that I got my one claim here, I've got one in Montana too, but I just get online and file my annual fees with them and I'm done, There's
yeah,
no skin off my back.
well, if you're rich like that, then. But if you
I'm not.
so once upon a time, I had over 200 mining claims. Once upon
Uh-huh.
a time, from Washington, California, Nevada, Montana, Oregon. I mean, all over the western states. And I used to spend 3-4 months taking off every year, just driving around and maintaining and playing. And then when they changed a lot of their rules, that's when everything went to hell and quit doing that. But so when you have that many claims, you try to. So one year I thought, that's a lot of money you have to pay for all those claims.
Uh-huh.
So one year I said, you know what? I think what I'm going to do is put 10 in my first name, 10 in my middle name, 10 in the store name, and they was okay. And then one year they just thought, you know what? We think you're all the same person. And so then they null and voided them all because I had more than 10.
Ah.
So, but you're right.
Yeah.
They do send you the thing saying, prove who you are. Then you got to go down and get the paper notarized. Because anyway, BLM's a pain in the ass. But that's because people are putting their dogs and mothers and all types of on the claims. And that's why they started doing that.
Yeah, they do a lot of that. Hey, I'll give a piece of advice to people. If you do anything illegal, don't put it on Facebook, mining related, I'm talking about. I actually talked to the ranger that works this area, and he told me that's where they make most of their busts is from stuff people put on Facebook. So if you're doing anything wrong, man, don't post it, So just a little word of advice.
That's or don't talk about it here on a radio show either.
Yeah, well, we're not doing anything illegal, so we don't have to worry about it.
No, we're just extracting the minerals and leaving all the dirt there. We don't hurt anybody. We don't hurt the environment at all. Actually, we help the environment. We improve the environment. We're good for the environment. And we're just happy-go-lucky people. So all you tree stompers, leave us alone.
All the tree huggers. Well, we're underground, so we're not even bothering the roots of the trees. I'm far enough down that I seldom see a root, So that's good. But yeah, I put a lot of dirt back. My mining claim has been worked over and over the years, and bulldozers included, some excavators, I think, over the years. And I rebury a lot of those holes, I'll check them out and get what I want or whatever. And then when I need a place to dump dirt, dump it down the holes and I put them back to the way they were, So I actually improved my mining claim. In fact, on my way here today, I made a dump run. All the old timers, they leave tin cans and they leave lids to 55-gallon drums. And there was an old chair, I pick that stuff up and I haul it to the dump. At least our county, it's free dumping. That's nice. So I haul it off and I try to keep my claim clean, and I should never have any problems with BLM about any of that,
No. And prickly prospecting, because he can assure he's pulled more trash than treasures out. That could be true. That could be true. So you were talking about coins and stuff like that you would go back. Where was this at?
I lived in Florida, but I did pretty much all the East Coast. But I've also swung a metal detector in Iceland, England. Where else? I don't remember where all I went. I'd always take my metal detector with me and swing it wherever I went, though.
Yeah. So you were finding coins. Where was that back? You hiked someplace to find some coins?
There was places I hiked. I do research and then hike to them. I was telling you a story earlier about when I hiked about 2 miles from where I could park to find an old turpentine town, and the Air Force had bought the property and they'd bulldozed it. But I researched it, found it. We found coins out there. One of the most interesting ones I found a 1794 Spanish real, and I found that right in downtown Savannah. And I, my friend wanted to metal detect this area that looked trashy, and I kept saying, "No, man, there's too much trash." And he finally talked me into it, so we did it. And after about 10 minutes, he's okay. I see what you mean. All right, we'll leave. So we turned off the detectors, and as I stepped off the curb, something caught my eye, and I turned around and looked at the cobblestone street, and here's this Spanish real laying there. Apparently, it had washed out of that little area that we were just up in, you know. So that was interesting. I found another one, 1694, I think it was, over in England, and a Brit come by, and he's like, "Hey, chap, how you doing? You find anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm finding a little bit." And he's like, "Have you found anything old?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got one that's pretty old." And he's like, "You mind if I see it?" So I handed it to him, and man, he went off on me. "Oh, you Yanks, you don't know what old is. Whoa, you know, and your country's not even that old." And I'm like, "Man, calm down, man." I says, "Well, what do you find?" He says, "Well, we always find stuff from the Romans." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I got you. You know, but it's funny when you go around the world like that and you find different things, but you know, relatively speaking to them, I mean, that was not old, you know. And to us here in America, that's real old, you know. So yeah, it's interesting what you can find. I found a lot of, you know, 1800 type stuff when I was searching for coins.
Yeah, I'd like to do that one day. That's on my bucket list. Maybe is go back there in parts of England or somewhere where they do those tours, metal detecting tours, to go back there and spend a few weeks detecting and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'll do it
Done
anywhere
that?
in the world. You
Have you
know.
done that? You went on those tour things?
No, I didn't go on a tour. I was just on my own. You know,
Oh,
one time I was on a military base. I'm looking for a place that was in England, and I was looking for a place to detect. And I saw some picnic tables out under the trees, and I'm like, maybe some people drop stuff out there. So I went out there, and next thing you know, I was surrounded by the cops. And I'm like, "Oh, you know, it's dark. You know, I'm like, what's going on, man?" And then like, yeah, I showed them what I was doing. They're like, "Well, metal detecting is okay, but do you know where you are?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just saw these picnic tables out under the trees." They said, "Man, you're right outside of accounting and finance." And I'm like, "Oh,
who?
okay. Now I understand why you're excited."
What was it?
Accounting and finance. That's where all the paychecks come from. That's where the money is.
Oh, oh,
It's like the bank on a military base, you know. And
oh.
I was right outside of it detecting. It got them all excited. Yeah, you have stories when you detect that long. There was one, we were in a park in Savannah, Georgia, and cops came by. It was our last night there. And they're like, "Do you have a digging permit?" And we're like, no. And they're like, "Well, you're required a digging permit to do any digging." I'm like, "We're only digging holes 6 inches deep." And they said, "Doesn't matter. If you dig it all, you got to have a digging permit, but they're free. You can get one tomorrow." And we're like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Well, of course, we knew it was our last night. So we were putting our stuff away. And I looked around at my friend and I says, "I wonder how those cops would have reacted if they realized there's probably about 500 holes in this little park from us." But they didn't know. All they saw was that last night, you know.
Wow. Cool. Yeah, I'd like to do that. I mean, I think I kind of like treasure hunting more than gold hunting. You know, I mean, gold hunting's fun, but I love swinging a detector. I really have come. I used to hate that. You know, I used to have a claim out there by Stanton, below Stanton. And if you've
Uh-huh.
been out there, there used to be an old yellow water tank out there right
Yep.
next to Weaver's Creek. Well, that was the
Yep.
claim we had. It was 160
Okay.
acres that we had right there. And then eventually they hauled BLM or somebody ended up hauling off that old yellow water tank. But we engraved or we put our name. That was Miners Creek back then. That we put that on the side. But so we'd go out there, and all we did was dry washed, and we kept these people from Stanton and that kept coming down and saying, "Oh yeah, we're on the Lucky Linda," saying, "You ain't on no Lucky Lindas." You know, we got tired of these metal detectors people. So me and a buddy, we had these gigantic sacks of BBs, and we drove around on our quads and
No,
we threw BBs all over that claim.
that's mean.
Well, we weren't into metal detecting. I wanted nothing to do with metal detecting. And you talk to people like Bill Southern or all these people, they're still to this date finding BBs out there, So that's okay.
Well, I found that on one of your claims, the one down in Harquahala Mountains down there.
Yeah.
I went in there with a Bill Southern group, and two people found some gold. One guy I knew, he found two pieces, and he says, "What are you finding?" And I'm like, "BBs," And he says, "Well, you got to." He says, it sounds the same as the gold. You're doing the right thing." So anyway, I went home that night and I counted the BBs. I had 82 BBs, and because I do carry them out. I carry out all my trash. I don't leave any trash behind. I even, if it's an area I want to come back to, I even carry out the hot rocks, get them out of there so that I can work it again later. But anyway, but I pulled out 82 BBs and I was sitting there and thought about it. I'm like, no wonder I'm tired squatting down. I mean, sometimes you squat 2 and 3 times per dig, and so that's getting up, squatting down, getting up, squatting down, getting up, squatting down, in the heat of the day, at least 82 times, and that didn't even cover the rest of the trash I dug. That was just BBs. So yeah, that was your Harquahala claim. I got 82 BBs in that one day.
Yeah, we get a lot of BBs out in one spot out there. I know we get a lot of BBs. I think the old timers, they didn't shoot bullets when they were shooting rabbits and snakes and things. I think they shot BBs.
Well, you know what? I just heard recently this story, and from a reputable source, I think. But he said that now this was the Stanton area. You dig a lot of like either boot tacks, and they also use the same kind of tacks on dry washers back in the day. And you dig a lot of those. And he told me, he says, "You know why you dig a lot?" And I'm like, "I guess they're losing them out of their boots or their dry washers." He says, "No." He says, "There was a time back then when they had muzzle loading shotguns and they hunted rabbits and quails. And he said they had a shortage on lead shot and then nobody could get lead shot." He says, "But, the shoe guy, he had like sacks and sacks and sacks, I guess, of these tacks. And the guys found out that they could buy the tacks from him way cheaper than they could buy the lead shot. So they were using that in their shotguns. And so if that's true, that explains why there's so many of those tacks out there, because you find as many tacks out there as you find BBs. So, possibly a true story. Don't know.
I mean, it could be. I know out there on that Harquahala claim, I found an area once that just seemed like there were just probably bunches and bunches of tacks. They were just all together, though, in a hole. Yeah. And I thought maybe it was part of a shoe or something, but it was way too many. But one thing, when you're finding those tacks, generally on a shoe tack, they're bent because I guess they go in and they bend.
Yes, but that's correct.
A dry washer tacks are more straight.
That is absolutely correct.
And if you find those in an area, you might find one, you might find two. I love to detect around those areas because they were dry washing more than likely. And those bellows dry washers were losing a lot of times. The tacks would come out of those dry washers.
Right.
Good areas to detect around.
Yeah, that would be it. But yeah, I've seen both of those, and I knew that difference too about the boot tack versus the dry washer tack. So see it bent over, it's a boot tack.
Yeah.
Just like they bend horseshoes nails. They do the same thing with them. Drive it through the shoe and through the horse's hoof, and then they bend that tip over on it. Same thing.
So they don't come back out.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, all righty. We've been yakking forever. Anything that you want to tell us before we come to a conclusion here?
Oh, I don't know. Join me and learn how to pan. I see so many people on the internet, it's like, how do you pan? How you do that? And I see some bad advice. I mean, bad advice. And I'm like, are you kidding me, man? I saw one guy, supposedly he knows what he's doing. He's an older guy. And I saw him, he was giving a demonstration. He says, never swirl the dirt in the pan. And I looked at him and I'm like, okay, I just lost all my respect for this guy, because there's several different methods of panning. and each of them have their place, and you have to learn each one of them, learn how to do it properly, and it takes a lot of practice, to pan right. But there is no like swirling, it's like when you swirl it, you're stratifying your gold, you're not washing it out anyway. So it's like you're not, I don't know, he was just, he didn't know what he was talking about, obviously. I lost all my respect for him when he said that. But yeah, you really need to get with somebody that knows what they're doing. And like I said, I learned from an old timer, one of the old guys, and those guys were using pie pans and old-fashioned steel pans. Of course, that's what I learned on myself, was an old-fashioned steel pan. That was long before they came out with these plastic pans. And and with those, without riffles, you've got to learn to pan right so you're not losing gold. And so anyway, there's a lot of different methods. I can show you the different methods, and I don't give lessons. I'm not trying to forward any business of mine. I don't have a business. So, but if you ever get with me and you want to learn something, you want to do some panning, I'd be glad to show you and show you all these different methods. And you have to figure out when to use this method, when to use that method. It has a lot to do with your gravels and your rocks and your dirt and all that, but, and I've got a lot of different kind of pans. I like playing with pans, all these square ones and rectangular ones and ones with, it looks like a sluice box in the bottom of them and all kind of stuff. And I like playing with them, just like you do, Jack, with equipment back here. You like playing with all these different equipment, and seeing how they work and what they do. And I like doing the same thing with with pans.
Well,
and so I've got a bunch.
Yeah, no, I love pans too. There's some pretty ridiculous pans out there, though. I always used to mock. You talked about those sluice box pans. So put your gravel in the sluice box pans, and you do this back and forth, or whatever to pan. And then when you're done doing this, what do? You
stick in the pan and pan it.
Well, when you're done panning, you pull the plug on the bottom
into
another pan to pan it out.
To finish it out.
Yeah. Why not just use the pan?
My favorite big pan is the Mine Lab, that blue pan. I love it. It is a bigger one, and if you fill it up, you can't hardly lift it, so you can't really fill it heavy. But and my favorite finishing pan is a Falcon pan, another little blue pan. Love that Falcon pan. It's great for finishing.
Well, because that's rough. It's got rough edges on it.
Yeah, but it's also when they made them perfectly flat on the bottom. It's not concave or obtuse or whatever they call all those funny names, but there's no curvature to the bottom. It's flat, and it's got those little ridges in it, and it really, really does a good job. When you're trying to separate black sand from the gold, a lot of people are like, how do you do it? And of course, I'm not going to take the time to tell you how to do it, but you can do it, but it takes time. And when I was working over at Stanton a couple of years ago, they've got heavy black sand. It's so heavy that the gold won't even settle down through it. And a lot of times it would take me 2 hours to pan that down. But it can be done. And you just got to learn to take your time with it. But that Falcon pan, boy, it's a good one for that. You can really wash it back real smooth.
Yeah, Craig. I love Mine Lab equipment. You're right about that. Mine Lab sucks. Everybody that's been on here over time knows that I say Mine Lab sucks, and I ain't afraid to say Mine Lab sucks. They're shitty equipment. They're all breaking. They're cheaply made, but we all use them anyways. So
that's what we got, huh?
Yeah, because there's not a company out there yet that will take them over. I sure wish one day somebody would do that. Like I wish that Garrett would really get their act together and improve that Axiom a little bit, and because that's a cheaper PI, and I think it would be better than a lot of them other crappy ass. Every Mine Lab I've owned, I've had a problem with one thing or another with the detectors. Every one, whether this, and you see people posting, their things break off, or their speakers come apart, or they put them in water when they say waterproof and they're not, and just they've got so many problems with them. Mine Lab sucks.
I don't know. I haven't had any problems with mine.
Well, the reason Mine Lab sucks is because they won't give me a dealership.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So
Now,
that's all right.
my friend, he's got a monster, and he has used that thing. He's been through a couple coils now just from wearing off the bottom of it because he scrapes it on the dirt and hits rocks, and
Yeah.
he scrapes the right through the plastic. He goes through the little covers, the coil covers. I don't know, every couple months he'll go through a cover. And right now, though, his on-off switch, you can't even press it with your finger anymore. You got to find a little sharp rock on the ground to push the on and off switch on it. But it still works. I mean, he out detects me. It's still a good detector, you know. Finds a lot of gold.
Oh no,
So
it's good. Yeah. That problem with the gold monster, it just picks up every single hot rock in the valley, and that's you really got to know how to. So either you've got to turn your gain all the way down or turn it down an awful lot to try to balance some of that out. But every time you turn that down, your sensitivity, you're going to lose that really fine gold.
I run mine with all that stuff turned off. I want to hear all the noise, and that's how I run it.
Yeah, well, you got to run it high.
Well, not just high, but I mean, I turn off those automatic settings so that it hears everything.
Right. Yeah, you can't run automatic. So, like when I use it, I go one off from auto, where the black dot disappears.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, so I say I hate MindLab, but I have two Equinoxes, 800s. The reason I have two is because I don't want to switch corals, so I just switch detectors. It's easier to do.
There you go.
and then I have the 900. I've got two gold monsters. I have the 6000. I have the Manticore. I had a 7, but I sold it. Anyway, so
you've been through them then.
Yeah. Well, I have found a lot of gold. I really have. I've paid for my gold monster. I've paid for my 6000 with gold that I have found detecting. So
yeah,
I enjoy metal detecting. I can't wait to get out and do it. I love to do it.
Well, the other advice I have to people is when if you're getting into the hobby of metal detecting for gold, do not expect to get rich. It takes a long time to learn how to use it. And a lot of people are like, well, how much do you make? And I told them for a long time, I says, if I find enough to pay for my gas, I'm lucky. I really am, and you don't always find that much, you go out days when you get skunked, and then you go out other days, and you do good for the day, but I would say on average, if you pay for your gas, at least in your first couple of years, you're doing good. Most people can't pay for their gas. So don't expect it. That's all I'm saying. Don't go out there thinking you're going to get rich the first time you swing that metal detector.
Yeah, no, it's got to be looked at as a hobby, and and you got to dig like 300 pieces of trash. It might almost be up to 400 pieces of trash now before you find that piece of gold. So,
right.
But if you're finding a lot of trash, that just means somebody hasn't been there, and if there is gold there, then you'll find it. If you're finding trash, if you get in areas where there's no trash, well, that means somebody's probably been there.
Well, going back to my claim, when you get down on that ancient bedrock, guess what, man? There is no trash.
Right.
Gold and hot rocks. That's it. No trash down there.
Well, that 6,000 will get rid of most of those hot rocks.
Yeah.
So I will come out to see you.
There you go. Bring it out and see what you can find.
Yeah, I look forward to it. We can do nothing else anyway, just to check things out.
There you go. Come on out and visit.
All right, before we let you go, so you got any advice then you want to give to somebody just starting out, somebody just brand new, just starting out, watching this here saying, well, I wish I could go out and find some gold or something. What do they got to do? What's your best piece of advice?
Well, there's so many different ways of mining gold. We're in the desert, you get guys in Northern California jumping in the rivers. Of course, they can't use dredges anymore. Up in Alaska, they use dredges. There's so many different ways of doing it. It depends on where you're at, as far as advice is concerned. I've done most of those. I had a 6-inch underwater dredge that I used in Alaska, and I'm doing dry washing now and metal detecting, and I've panned all over the place, and so you find somebody, a mentor or something that can kind of take you by the hand and take you out and show you some areas. They say, first of all, You're not going to find gold if there's no gold there. So you've got to do the research, and find where gold has been found before, and find somebody that says, oh yeah, I'm still finding it there, and get with them. Say, can you take me by the hand and take me out there? Show me what you're doing, how you're doing it. Teach me the ropes, and that's the best kickstart you're going to get. And it is fun. You have to like playing in the dirt and getting dirty. But if you enjoy that, go for it. It's a good hobby.
Yeah. Or find a local club in your area, join it, and go out with those people too.
There you go. That works too.
All right, Mr. Tread. Well, you have happy prospecting, and we'll come out and visit you on your claim. We appreciate you stopping by, taking some time and chatting.
And thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, you guys all take care. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. So until our paths cross again next week, you guys all be safe. Get yourself some of that gold, and hey, stay out of trouble. See y'all. Bye.